Yo, what is good, YouTube? It's your boy Jay-Z Bottom Lip. It's been a while since we made a video. I apologize for that, but I had to basically re-inspire myself. I've been very busy, and just being busy sometimes take away the inspiration that you have originally for the things that you once did. But I don't want to go too much into that. I just want to let you guys know I apologize for not uploading as much as usual. Today, I wanted to talk to you guys about mashing. Mashing is very important to understand. We all do it sometimes, but we never understand how it doesn't make sense. So for me, sometimes I have to sit back and reflect on why I did something and how it doesn't make sense. So we like to say that people are mashing when they aren't mashing, and then sometimes we like to say people aren't mashing when they are mashing, which is kind of funny. And I'm going to show you and explain to you on how mashing looks and recognizing when someone is mashing. So for this example, I'm going to be showing you General Shao Kahn. Then on top of that, I'm also going to show you Geras. Okay, I feel like these two characters are very easy to understand when someone is mashing because they don't have buttons that they can abuse like everyone else. So when you do see one of these characters, quote unquote, mashing, it's more obvious. And what I mean by that is when you take a move and you press it, it has to be a reason behind why you're doing that. For an example, if I'm fighting against Johnny and Johnny has a lot of plus frames, if I want to take my turn back, I will want to A, use my fastest move, B, or two, I want to be able to poke him with my fastest move. Because what happens is when Johnny is pressuring me, he's also thinking about if I use my fastest move. But sometimes if he misinput his timing on trying to jail or take his turn back correctly, sometimes I can poke out of his pressure. When I poke out of the pressure with a down one, my stand moves jail. For an example, if I take the block and I set it to off, then I set him to duck. If I down poke him, I automatically get a stand poke. You see how the opponent has to stand on my second hit after he get hit by a down poke? That means just imagine it was Johnny. I hit him finally. Now I'm able to start my pressure, right? Where I can go into this move. Then after I do this string, I can put my hammer into the ground into whatever cameo that I have that complement my play style, which allows me to put my hammer on the ground, and then I can continue my pressure. Now, if I was to go against a player, I can understand that they're mashing because after they initially get the down hit, they might do something like this after getting the hit. And the reason why I consider this mashing is because you're no longer are paying attention to what if I did get the hit, or I did get the hit. Now I can continue my offense, or I can now go into offense. Since you no longer are worried about that, you are now mashing. Why? Because nothing you're doing is making sense to your opponent, and it damn sure don't make sense to you. So when you do things like this on hit and stuff like this, you're no longer are playing the game no more. You're no longer playing a fighting game. You are trying so hard to take your turn back that you don't even know what you're doing. So this is a beginner's standpoint, is that most beginners do this. They don't know why they do this. I'm letting you know why you're doing this. It's because you don't know what you're doing. And to follow up more into that is that you have to have a game plan behind every button that you use. Every action that you do in a fighting game, specifically Mortal Kombat in specific, is that every time that you do a move, it has to make sense to you and your opponent, right? And the reason why it has to make sense to your opponent is because once you start doing down pokes, you can start taking your turn back incorrectly because you're creating mind games off of your down one. This is when you start doing things like this into grab, or you can do this into shimmy, and then so on and so forth. Shimmies don't jail, but it's baiting your opponent to think that you're going to grab them, so they initially duck so they can get the best punish, and then you hit them with a mid. This is where you start creating mind games, layers, and flowcharts, and so on and so forth. I just wanted to explain to you guys what mashing looks like and how to stop it. So again, you will start doing things that don't make sense. That's the best way to look at it. When you start doing things like this, and then down poking after. When you start doing things like this and you didn't hit confirm and you're only +1 off of 2-2 and you didn't know that, so when you do this string you might go into something like this. This is considered mashing. Mashing doesn't always have to mean that you're poking someone. It can mean taking 2 buttons that necessarily do not gel and you're trying to gel them, or you're just trying to take your turn back as much as possible in the most devious way that does not make sense, in my opinion, right? So like I said, this move right here is only +1. So if you do decide to do this move and you don't hit confirm and your opponent gets hit by this, the only thing you're guaranteed is a down 1, and even then your down 1 might not reach, but then again it may reach depending on the range of it, and the likelihood of the pushback of it as well. So just keep that in mind. So you can't do things like this and then try to gel it again. Like I said, you can always set the AI to duck and then try it. See how he can duck it? It doesn't gel. And since the startup frame is 8, it never will gel because it's only hit advantage of 1. So just keep that in mind, guys, when it comes to mashing. I know we like to throw that terminology around, but my whole idea is to help you guys get better at the game and learn terminology so you use them correctly. Have a good day. Appreciate you guys watching. I'm out.